Here we have an '06 F350 Super Duty, and there's a rattling noise in the front. And what we're going to be replacing, I'm going to show you underneath here. These are actually called sway bar bushings. This is your sway bar. Let me get a light up here so you can see a little better. This is your sway bar right up here, and it goes right across over to your stabilizer link right here. This is your link. These are your sway bar here, and these are your sway bar bushings. And what's happening is this one here, you see that movement inside there? When you go over a bump, this movement here transmits into a lot of banging in the front of the vehicle. So what we're going to do is we're going to spray these nuts up underneath here, because this vehicle's pretty old. It's got over 100,000 miles on it. We're going to spray these up real good, and then we're going to take these two bolts out, and we're going to lower the sway bar down. Obviously, we're going to do the other side at the same time. So let me get some tools. We're going to take these bolts out, and we'll lower it down, and we'll get this bushing out of here. Probably going to take this wheel off so we can get in a little bit easier, but we'll see how that goes. So let me grab some tools, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we got the wheel off the vehicle, we're going to be changing this bushing right inside here. You can see that space right in between there. So you have a lot of play inside this here, and that'll give you a lot of banging. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take out that bolt right there, that bolt right there, slide this bracket down, and put a new bushing on. So one way you can do it by hand. Take it out with a ratchet, put a socket on it, and you can take it out like this. Or, actually, let me just stop for 1 second here. Whenever you have a vehicle and the tires are off the vehicle, don't go underneath it to work unless you got a jack stand underneath it as a safety precaution. God forbid the truck falls or the car you're working on falls, you'll be in some serious trouble. So if you don't have a jack stand, take the tire, slide the tire underneath the vehicle, and at least it'll give you some kind of protection. All right, so let me get some tools, and we're going to get started on this right now. Okay, you can do it by hand. Obviously, I sprayed these up with some penetrating oil to try to save some time, so that everything is not rusted. Right, unscrew the bolts all the way out. Now we're going to reuse these bolts, so don't lose them. We got to use them over again. I'm going to take this one out here too, same thing. Now obviously if you have air, you can use air. I'm just doing this by hand to show you how you can do it without air. And then we'll take this off. We'll take this off. And then we're going to remove this bushing right here. It's split. In the back of the bushing is a split. So you see that movement that you have in there? That's the rattling that this car is getting, or truck is getting when they go over bumps. So remember where your groove is, and that's the way you're going to put it back on. And the way you take it off is you just push it. I'm trying to do this one-handed, sorry. All right, now we get the bushing off, and now we're going to get the replacement, and we're going to put it back on. Obviously, we're doing one side, we're going to go around to the other side, and we're going to do the other side at the same time. So let me grab the new stuff, and we'll come right back. Okay, before I put this back together, I just want to show you what the old one looks like and what the new one is supposed to look like. As you can see, the new one, the old one, your finger fits pretty much through it, and the new one doesn't fit in there pretty much at all. So you can see that the hole is considerably smaller on the replacement than it was on the old one, which is why the bar is banging around. So the way we're going to put it back in there is we're going to get underneath the truck itself, and I'll show you how that's going to be done. This this is where it's going to be going, right up inside here. And the way you do that is you just take the bushing and you split the bushing, open it up like this, and you put it around the bar. Is we're going to take the socket, and we're going to put this cap back on over this like this. We're just going to catch it up there. We're not going to tighten anything tight yet. We're just going to catch it up there nice and loose so we can get the other side into position also. So screw it up by hand. You just hold the bar up and you can screw the bolts in by hand. No ratchet yet, only by hand. Alright, and once you've got them caught by hand, then we're going to go around to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Once you have both sides caught, then you can tighten up both sides. And if you have an air gun, obviously you can use an air gun. Snug both sides down before we go back and tighten everything up tight. Alright. And then we tighten it up fairly tight. And then we just make sure this is tight here. Alright, nice and tight. Let me just show you underneath here. Remember the previous bushing where I showed you there was all that space underneath there? Well, now you can see how tight it is. There's no movement in the here whatsoever. See how tight this is? There's no movement in here whatsoever. The bar, when you move the bar up and down now, there's no play in this bushing whatsoever. So that'll take care of the rattling or the thumping noise that they're getting whenever they go over bumps. Alright, let me tighten up the other side. And that's it. We're pretty much all set. Underneath the truck itself, I'm going to show you where the link is, so you have some idea. This piece right here is the stabilizer link. To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to take the tire off the truck so I can get in from the side over here with an air gun. But we're going to unscrew this nut right here, and we're going to unscrew the nut on the bottom right here. So let me get this wheel off, and we'll come right back and show you how this is done. Okay, now that we got the wheel off the truck, we're going to remove the stabilizer link, and we're going to replace it with a new one. I want to bring out one important point. Always make sure you put a jack stand underneath the truck, the car, whatever you're working on. If you have the wheel off the car, put something underneath it as a safety precaution. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to, before we take this top bolt off, we're going to take off this bottom bolt right here, because if you take this bottom bolt off and this one is removed, this is just going to spin and you're going to have to hold it with a wrench. So it's logical to leave it connected right now, and we're going to take that bottom bolt out right there. So let me set this up and we'll get started. If you have air, obviously you can use air to take it off. If you don't have air, you can do a ratchet and do it by hand. I find it a little bit easier with the air gun because everything is pretty rusty. But whatever you have that'll work for you is fine. that's why I said to leave the top bolt connected before you so take the bottom one out first, because otherwise you'll be trying to hold this and try to shoot that out with air at the same time, or use a ratchet or whatever. All right, so next thing you're going to do is you're going to get on the top one here again with either a ratchet or a whatever you have to use, a ratchet or an air-powered gun or whatever. What you're going to do then is you're going to hold the nut in the back on here, and then you're going to shoot this nut off. And we're going to be reusing this nut, so don't lose it. I also want to point out that there is a washer on here. We're going to be reusing this washer also. So let me grab the new link and we'll put it back together. What you're going to do is you're going to take the link and put it back through the frame, put your bushing on, and screw your nut on. You're not going to tighten anything up yet. You just got you on there now. Then you're going to take your bolt that you took out of your holder, put it right through here. Remember what I told you about that washer? You got to put that washer back on. Right there. And then you're going to get the nut on the back here. Screw it on by hand as tight as you can. And you can grab your rag gun or whatever you're going to use. You're going to do it by hand or use a ratchet or the air. And then we're going to tighten this up really tight. And what we're going to do is we're going to come to the bottom, and like I said, either you can use a breaker bar or socket, a ratchet, or air, whatever you've got, and then we're going to tighten this down all the way here. And let me just show you how tight you want to tighten it. Right, you don't want to crush it to the point where you split these bushings. You want to tighten this so that it's snug, and you'll be in pretty good shape. So we got the top bolt tight. We got this tight. That's it. We're all set. Put the wheel back on, and obviously we're going to do the other side, and it'll be all done. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.